Hi, and thanks for logging on to the Daily DVAR Halacha. And here's a brand new halacha for you, and it's for Thursday, the 18th day of June. Here we go. One more law left over from our last topic, and that was how we said you're not supposed to call your parents by their name. But if it ever happens, God forbid, that you need to pray because of a sickness that befalls parents, so the halacha is that you are allowed then to mention, let's say, the father's name, Ben, his mother. You would say, let's say his name is Yitzchak, so you would say Yitzchak ben Rivka or whatever, even though you're saying the father's name, Yitzchak, but that would be the appropriate thing to do because that when you're in a prayer, you're not expected to be putting grandiose titles on your father because you're praying to the Father of all fathers, you're praying to God, so you just mention the father's name humbly and politely, and that's how you say a parent's name if, God forbid, you have to pray for them for an illness. But now moving on to a new topic, and that is the topic of treating food with respect. There are a lot of halachas about this. I'm going to do it for the next maybe 2 days or something. Here goes. Based on a Gemara in Psachim on Daf Gimel, the first halacha already in respecting food is that you're not allowed to speak disparagingly about a food. Let's say you don't like spinach and someone puts some spinach in front of you and you go, ugh, just look at it, I hate spinach. That's not appropriate. God makes food available to us. Spinach happens to be very healthy. If you don't like it, then just say no thank you. But you don't have to go disgracing something that God made available to you beautifully on this planet. If you reject spinach, and you disgustingly speak about it, then you're rejecting the goodness that God gives to you. If there happens to be food that for one reason or another is prohibited to you, you still are not allowed to disrespect that food just because it's prohibited to you. You would still treat it with respect. If someone puts like cat food in front of you and you're like, ooh, so that, well, okay, we could kind of understand that. Cat food would disgust you a little bit, and you don't have to go out of your way to make fun of it, but yeah, you could, you don't have to treat it with as much respect. Now, can you use food? Like, let's say you wanted to use bread to, what some of the caterers do? They serve you soup at the wedding, and there's like a doughy, bready thing over the top of the soup. So that's allowed to be done. That's like part of the food servicing that they're doing, and it doesn't disgrace the bread or anything. You're using it in a good way, and it will actually get eaten. So then it's going to be totally okay to do that. But you're not allowed to like pass a cup of wine over a piece of bread so the drips of wine will fall on the bread, and then you may not be interested in that bread anymore. You're not allowed to subject the bread to that to make it unedible afterwards, because that's like disgracing the bread. Similarly, don't put a raw piece of meat on top of a piece of bread, because then you're not going to want to eat that piece of bread. It's going to be kind of like ruined in your eyes, and you don't want to do that to a piece of bread. If when you're making kiddush or something, you just want to rest your sitter on the challah cover, which has the challahs underneath it, that's allowed. That's not considered disgracing the challah. And you could even put like a whole challah or something, or some slices of bread under a sefer to prop it up while you're learning at the Shabbos table. If you want to do that, just be careful about the crumbs, because Pesach is months away, and But if you needed to prop up some sefer with a piece of food, that is considered allowed. Don't let the mayim achronim, those waters that you use at the end of the meal for washing, don't let them fall onto a piece of bread. That's not considered appropriate. It'll make the bread unusable. And lastly, caterers, one more trick that they'll do is sometimes fashion a piece of bread to become hard to become the bowl for your soup, so the bread actually becomes the bowl. Since at the end of the eating people are tempted, or will want to, hopefully will eat some of that bread, soup, bowl, then that's totally permitted. That's not considered dishonoring the bread. Thanks for logging on. Log on again tomorrow, and I want to remind you again that it's Rosh Chodesh, so don't forget all your Rosh Chodesh editions. Rosh Chodesh is still going on throughout, since the beginning of Tuesday night through all day Wednesday, Wednesday night through all day Thursday. Bye-bye. Have a great Chodesh.